This is Remix Report with your hosts, DJ JD and DJ J Spring.
Today's video brought to you by YourDJDrops.com, the nation's hottest DJ drops.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Remix Report. I'm DJ JD.
I'm DJ J Spring, and today we have two special guests joining us from near Seattle. We have DJ FaZe and Victor Menego. I said your name right, but I heard that drop that you had by Flo Rida that you posted on your Twitter. The Vic Meganox. That was I just remember that when I.
That's got to be the best drop I've ever heard in my life.
I consider changing my name legally to that for a slight minute, just because it's so choice.
Just because you wanted to use your Flo Rida drop.
I need to.
It's so like pimp to get a dope Flo Rida drop, but then to have it so mangled that you can never use it. That's so depressing.
We were going to do an Alias tour last year, and since we're lazy and never got around to it, we all had alias names. That would be one that I think people would probably be able to decipher. That's me, other than our other alias names that we made up. But we'll get to that another time.
Where can people listen to that? If
is there any way for people to still hear?
I will post the link for you.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
They can download away.
Maybe that could be everybody's drop.
Right. That's right.
All right, so as usual, we'll start off talking about our weekend, but we definitely got news and discussions coming your way.
We're going to talk about your new site, Bar Bangers, in a little bit. And also, I guess we haven't really talked to you guys on here in a while. I know, Victor, we've interviewed you on here before. And FaZe, I remember you gave us that dope dubstep House of Pain jump around version that we posted for St. Patty's. That was a little while ago. I think it might have been 2 years ago.
Yeah, a little while ago.
So
it was fun.
It's been long overdue to have you guys back on, so we're definitely going to catch up. But like JD said, first of all, I guess tell us where you were this weekend.
What about you? No, you first.
Me first?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you. What a gentleman. Let's see. Thursdays, I do a place called Blue Martini. I think they're all over the place. We have one here near Seattle, so I was there. Pretty chill little spot. I really like it a lot. The Martini Bar, kind of good vibe place. Fridays, more of a place called Trinity Nightclub, and that's what we do live to air on Kiss FM, and we're in the club. And then Saturdays, I'm at a place called Encore, another nightclub. It's a little bit further south in Tacoma. So all good spots, solid spots. I'm happy to have them.
Nice,
cool.
I played on Friday at a place called Jazz Bones in Tacoma here, with South End Bar. Just really sticky floor, rock venue, trashy place that's awesome to play at. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday, I had residency at Frontier Room. It's always fun there, and that's a nicer bar, not so sticky. And then until at least the end of the night when we wreak havoc and things happen. I'm referring to Vomit, guys. and yesterday I had to spin this. There was a huge video game expo in Seattle, and I had to spin at some nerd fest doing that yesterday. So that was cool.
Awesome. How about you, Spring?
This Thursday, I was back to the college gig that I do, which is kind of a sticky floor gig itself. At near ECSU, it's called Blarney's, and it was pretty good for the first one. I enjoy DJing for the college kids, although they seem to get younger and younger every year, and I seem to get older and older. Yeah, it is crazy.
No, they stay the same. That's the thing.
I remember the first time I visited, I went to UConn over 10 years ago, and I remember the first time visiting it back, maybe 5 or 6 years later. There's actually, right next to UConn, there's a middle school, or maybe a high school right next to UConn. And I was driving with one of my friends around campus 6 years later, and I was like, please tell me those kids are from the high school and they're not from the college. And I was like, those are the college kids now. And ever since then, it's been getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
All good.
Yeah.
I definitely need to make more of an effort.
I feel like I should be teaching at them at this point.
I don't think they want me teaching them. I really need to make an effort to step up my Move It Like Bernie game and my Cat Daddy game. That's one thing I need to make more of an effort to do that sometimes I forget to do. And I was reminded.
You don't know all the dances?
I don't even know all the songs, let alone the dances. But so that was my Thursday.
Maybe that'll be a whole section on barbangers.com.
The youngster section?
High school dance choreographed dance section.
Oh my
a good
God.
idea.
God, there's so many of them out now. It's unbelievable.
Are you guys excited to spend hours editing those tracks?
Anyway,
Okay.
Friday I was at Scorpion Bar, and that was it was actually kind of a slower night. I think Labor Day weekend. I don't know how it was for you guys. If it was slower than normal at all. I don't know if you guys do like outdoor kind of places at all.
there's a couple things going on. It's kind of hit or miss, but it wasn't too bad up here.
It was slow for me on Saturday, for sure.
Saturday was a little bit better. I was at Russian Lady in Hartford, which is like the number one club in Hartford. And that was actually, it started off very slow, but it got packed by the end. That was pretty fun.
What's it called?
Russian Lady. It actually used to be a big popular bar in the 50s and 60s, I think. And then
Yeah, that makes sense.
then they shut it down, and they shut it down, and it became
Commies.
a hip hop club for a while that I would have been afraid to go to, and then that shut down, and then they turned it into the Russian Lady again. They actually bought back all the furniture from the 50s and 60s at an auction, and so it kind of looks. It doesn't look like as up to date as some of these other places, but it does get pretty busy. And last night,
Sound cool.
It is pretty cool. Last night I was at Shrine, and it was actually kind of like almost maybe between a Friday and a Saturday. There it was pretty busy. So it was
Awesome.
a pretty good night.
Are you guys always there at Shrines? One of you, or
Yeah.
Saturday.
fail there, right? Like every week you're there.
One of us is usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at Shrine on Friday. Pretty decent night for a Friday. Wasn't really too slow for the holiday weekend, and then I had weddings on Saturday and Sunday. Doing it up wedding style. It was both weddings were actually really fun. One of them started off, I was like kind of iffy on it because it wasn't really a big crowd. Actually, neither of them were huge crowds. This one was at the bride's mother's house, and there was probably about 80 people. You know, the fewer people you have, like, the harder it can be to kind of get the vibe
Sure.
going and keep people on the dance floor. So I was like, I think I'm going to have to kind of work a little bit on this
Every
one.
record's playing with precision. You're just like, what are they going to like? I get it.
You're like, you got to have, like, laser focus.
Yep.
You can't take your focus off the dance floor for, like, 1 second. Otherwise, it's totally gone. But it all worked out well, and had everybody dancing all night. So both were fun.
Nice.
One thing I wanted to mention about my Saturday at Russian Lady is that I told you it started off slow, and it was really annoying at the beginning. One of the bouncers kept asking me to play Mercy, and it was like literally 10:45, and the dance floor was just full of girls.
Dude. Sorry, let me get into something, but go ahead.
The dance floor was full. It wasn't full, but there was probably like 30 or 40 white chicks on the dance floor who wanted to hear their Lady Gaga and their Kesha, and I was playing that kind of stuff. And he kept looking at me. He's like, "Yo, hip hop." And I think what he was thinking was that it wasn't that busy. And he's like, "Yo, you got to play hip hop if you wanted to get busy." And it was like 10:30, 10:45. And I actually
Thanks
told
for
him,
your advice.
yeah, no, I actually told him I didn't have any hip hop. And so then he just kind of shook his head. But then he kept coming up and asking for Mercy every like 15 minutes. And obviously I played it later on in the night. But I despise, I said to JD last week, I told him it's really annoying at Shrine because the bouncers know really not to bother us for requests, but they do occasionally, and it's always hip hop, which is just
Yeah.
it's funny. They
Shot.
never they never actually, if there's like a house request, that never makes its way up to the DJ booth. But if
Right.
if somebody wants to hear, I rember I told this story
Yeah.
like
If someone wants to hear No Lie or Riot, they'll be the first one.
They'll be the first one to bring it up. And
Bouncer wants to hear Billy Squire. The thing that fucking bothers me is bouncers, just do your fucking job. Okay, if there's any bouncers out there watching, you guys should have a whole section on bouncers. Mind me of vanity. You need to have get some bouncers from your clubs and bring them down and put them on this and have them talk about why they're so. What do you think?
I don't know what the right word is.
Retarded?
Most of the time they're good at Shy. We're cool with most of them, and I don't mind if like when we're walking up to the booth at the beginning, they're like, "Yo, make sure you play some 2 Chainz tonight." I'll be like, "All right, sure, I'll try to slip some
Don't
in."
mind that? After asking you to play 2 Chainz on the way into the club?
When we're walking, I mean, they'll give me suggestions. It's better than them. What happened a few months ago when I was in a really quick mixing set, and I was playing Soul Survivor by Akon, which I never let play more than his chorus, and
Yeah.
and he kept coming up, and it looked like it was almost an emergency. And I was like, all right, dude, what? Like, I don't know, maybe it was like the owner telling him to tell me not to turn off the hip hop or something. So I was like, all right, dude, what do you want? And he's like, yo, that guy right there wants to hear Gucci. And I was like, did that just really happen? Did you just really point out the dude in the crowd who wants to hear fucking Gucci? Like, was that serious? And I had to let Young Jeezy's verse play from Soul Survivor just because you wanted to tell me that someone. I mean,
Sad day.
yeah.
You never let that verse play.
Doing steroids and hitting on chicks and having bad taste in music, but don't talk to the DJ. There's no reason for that. I would be like, did you just make eye contact with me? Like that's.
Hey, FaZe, I want to ask you a little bit about. You were saying you DJ live on the radio while you're at the club. Can you talk a little bit about that? Talk about like I guess song selection at that time of night and playing clean versions at the club so that it translates to the radio.
Well, I think I have to do this first.
I like that. Solars used to come on here and drink the Nas energy drinks. I think these are the first alcoholic beverages we've ever had on Remix Report. So.
Really? We have a bottle of Fireball too. We brought out. You guys have that on the East Coast? I didn't see it in New York last week.
We do have that. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so as far as radio, well, we have a playlist that we try to stick to some degree. And I'm lucky enough that my music director kind of lets us have a little bit of creative freedom as it gets later and later and later, and the ratings, don't really mean as much as we get push closer into
What
midnight.
time do you start DJing on the radio? What time do you end?
Our mix show is from 9 to 2 a.m.
And what time are the clubs open till in Seattle?
From 10 to 2. So the first hour is taped out with another DJ. I'm live at 10 all the way till 1 a.m. And at 1 a.m. there's like a last call mix, and then we have another DJ on for that last hour. But I'm still live in the club from 10 to 2.
No.
But as far as music selection, we have a list that we go by, and I have to play around the other guys because their mixes are already recorded. So I can't play their songs too close together, so it gets a little bit hairy during those last 2 hours. But mostly I can kind of get away with mostly what I want to play, the remixes I want to play, within reason. But once it gets later, then I kind of go off and kind of do my own thing.
Do you find not playing the dirty versions makes a difference at all in the club?
No. If you're talking more like electronic music, there's really not a whole lot of electronic music with a lot of curse words anyways. If you're talking more of the popular stuff like the Rihannas and things like that. If you're talking shots, well, it probably, doesn't have
Or
as
Nicki
much.
Minaj.
Yeah. Well, even some of the Nicki Minaj stuff, it's so pop orientated. It doesn't have a whole lot of curse words, and like the Flow Riders, things like that. No, I don't really see that.
His demo too that night is really based on radio. I mean, they built it from their station, Kiss FM in Seattle. They all know. So if they hear the clean version, they don't even trip at all. They're just like straight up.
Yeah.
People listen to it anyways on the radio. So
Yeah. So most of my is full of all clean versions anyway.
Are the clean versions that we get from record pools, are those the same ones that they play on the radio? Because I've been noticing a lot of clean versions I have, like when I actually, at the beach, I have to play all clean versions. And I'll be like, wow, that's actually a clean version? Like, they used to totally remove the word fuck, would be like removed. Now it's like you hear, it's just like, now it's like the U is removed and you still hear the F and the CK in a lot of these clean versions.
Yeah, a lot of them are pretty close, and some of them get so close, just like what you're saying, that we have to kind of second guess it, and it really depends. Some things we might play a different version during the day as opposed to night if it's really that close. Okay. But there's been times where my MD would go, hey, can you make a little bit cleaner version of this? Do you have an instrumental or something? Or, and I'm like, yeah, and we'll play that one.
The best place to get the radio clean version is New Music Server. For sure, because they have the super duper squeaky clean version. Not the record pool clean version.
We took a beat and put it there, and I know it's like that, and it's like that with a lot of also editors, people who make clean and dirty versions of "Do My Ladies Run This Motherfucker," and then they say "Do My Ladies Run This Mother," and people Fastly, your music director at the station will be like, "Did that say fucker?"
I was just gonna actually say that right before you did. I was thinking of the Joe Maz or Discotheque version of the Neo Closest.
Yes, yeah, dude. The owner of Shrine heard me play that opening one night, and I was like kind of iffy on even playing it.
Right.
But he's like, dude, you're not supposed to be playing curse words yet because the restaurant's still open. I was like,
Right.
it was a clean version. I'm sorry. I won't play it again, but Jesus. Man, getting me in trouble.
Yeah, that one we got in trouble.
We got in trouble with that one too.
Yeah.
And there's some blog or something that they were talking about on radio.
Yeah, there's radio info boards that like where a bunch of nerds sit around like this, but it's radio, and they talk about what happened, and people like monitor and say, "Oh, I heard an F word on this station, and we're gonna try to sue the other station," and it's just like a war. But yeah, that came up, and then we also just stopped playing it in San Francisco at the time. I was playing here and in San Francisco on the radio. He still does, and that was a huge one. So yeah, perfect example, and that's the one I had in my mind as well.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
No,
It's happened to a lot of people,
it
I'm
was like
sure.
you and like everyone else.
Well, I think you said you were hesitant to play the Rita Ora party and bullshit too early at Shrine.
Yeah, because
also.
I finally have found, I think the Mike D version is actually like pretty clean. But yeah, the Rita Ora track is another one that's like kind of hard to play because the bullshit isn't really that clean in most of
I
it.
think all the ones I play are good. If it's too close, they haven't said anything to me yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. All right. Well, let's move on to some news.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Oh, thank you.
Cheers, my friends.
Cheers, guys.
There we go. We gotta do it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We are DJs after all.
It is Labor Day too.
And it's
So
Labor Day.
right?
And it's a holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
It's our Saturday, so it's our drinking day.
The floor is yours.
Cheers to Johnny Mac who won the Bezo Mix contest.
Yes. Cheers, Johnny.
You guys can
And
go.
nice segue if I do say so myself. Spring.
Yeah, lots of good mixes there for the contest. You can definitely go to Bezo and check all of them out that were submitted, I believe. But
Bezo.net. I know Panic City was one of the final 3 contestants too, so shout out to Panic City. Dope Mix by Johnny, you can listen to it on Bezo.net, and that's one of my favorite sites to go to see what's new that's coming out. So shout out to Henry, shout out to Audio One, PDV, everyone on Bezo.net.
also, Electric Zoo was this past weekend in New York City. The EDM Snob at EDMSnob.com gave a little rundown of the good and the bad, the ugly of the whole festival.
I want to hear this. What do you say?
He said the good starts off, Electric Zoo is one of those festivals that leaves you in awe of the power of the experience. The MADE event, meaning MADE is the people who put on the event. The MADE event team has obviously been doing this for many, many years, and their attention to detail beautifully complements their crisp, big picture idea of what a festival experience should entail. The meticulously selected lineup shone through as a massive success. So that all sounds very nice. The bad, because Electric Zoo focuses on perfecting the model of the traditional festival, artistic risk-taking is at a minimum. As a result, it fails to follow the lead of the experience-based top-tier festivals like Electric Daisy or Sensation. And the ugly, the fact that this was an all-ages show left me wondering whether this was a music festival or a joint field trip for New York City high schoolers.
I didn't know New York I didn't know Henry had another alias. This sounds very much like. Yeah. Is it him? Should DJ? Who's?
But I mean, for
Wow.
any of us who are our age, and if you've been to any concerts lately, I've noticed this since I was 24 going to the Rock the Bells tour, that I felt old at 24 going to that. And I remember walking by 2 years in Miami, we walked by the Ultra Fest, and it was all 16, 17, 18-year-olds in costumes and stuff, and I was like, wow, that's when I realized I am really, really old. So it doesn't really...
Which was that?
That was Ultra about 2 years ago in Miami when I walked by there.
Does anyone notice that music festivals can't happen now unless like an 8-year-old names them? Makes sense.
It's gonna sound like it.
Bumper Shoot we're having here in Seattle all weekend. Bumper Shoot, and of course like the Coachellas. I know there was a few other ones in New York this year. Just like what the hell?
Crazy Carnival.
Yeah, exactly. Who thinks of this stuff?
Yeah.
And they're trying to like zero in on that inner child that we all have, right?
I guess.
Right. They're trying to zero on that eccentric 8-year-old that's just full of great ideas.
Inner child that likes to do lots of drugs because you're such a young child.
I'm sure people found Molly this weekend. So now it's time for
idea we're talking about. None.
Now it's time for FaZe and JD to geek out for a few moments and talk about what's new with technology.
Oh, yeah. So Pioneer released.
Focus on me. Nah, you're just as big as a geek I am.
So Pioneer released a trailer for a new piece of gear that will be coming out shortly, I think, on the 6th. So we got 3 days, 2.5 days left till we know exactly what this is. The trailer is on YouTube. We'll have a link there. It's called An Evolution, and it has Laid Back Luke, Steve Angelo, Armand Van Buren on there talking about how life-changing this new piece of gear is going to be. A lot of people suspect it's either going to be like a CDJ 2000 MK2 or Nexus version of the CDJ 2000, but I know they're talking about doing all this stuff live that you could only do in Ableton before, and
I actually had to laugh. I thought it was kind of silly. I mean, you think I'm weird for thinking that. It looked like it was kind of from a movie or something.
I love this stuff. Yeah.
I thought I mean, talk about a life-changing DJ device. They didn't even mention what it was. I thought it was a little over the top.
Well, it's a secret.
Yeah.
I mean, the big reveal, you know.
It was blurred out, the product. I thought it was kind of funny. But
I don't know. I think it's a little bit of an oversell if you're trying to say, you know, it's going to be life changing or DJ changing, things like that. I mean, I love technology. I love what we're doing, but at the same time, you know, I like to kind of keep things real. I still use 2 turntables. I don't use any controllers and things like that. And you know, for the people that do, great. But you know, I'd love to see it. I like to see it in action. I like what they're doing at Native Instruments with Tractor and all the new controls and all this new remixing stuff. I think it's amazing. Is it for me? I think that's the question everybody has to ask themselves. You know, if all these big name electronic DJs are saying it's cool, maybe still might not be cool for you. You know,
well, some of those guys, like, I mean, they can get away with doing crazy stuff to music without getting booed by the crowd. The crowd expects them to put on a show. I'm trying to think what I want to.
I want to ask Laid Back Luke to play 2 Chainz when he walks in.
pretty much.
I'm trying to think what I want to be able to do to the music I play at the clubs that I can't do right now. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What could this product be? I enjoy using the filter effects, if that counts as anything. Maybe it's a giant filter machine that they've built.
Well, I think DJ Works gave one possible thing that may be included here, which would be, I guess, Pioneer just announced like deeper integration with Tractor, so maybe your waveforms would actually show up on the Pioneer and display, things like that.
That'd be sick.
Give you a little more, almost like being able to look at the vinyl like you used to do back in the day, kind of thing. But I don't know.
Oh, so maybe you could. It'd be like you could see kind of where you were scratching if you scratch on the CDJs. Maybe is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know either. What I really do think is impressive what they've recently been doing is the you put one USB drive into one of the CDJs and then you link the two together. And then I like that because if you originated on CD players, now you're back to not looking at a screen. You're just back to playing music, without a laptop in front of you blocking, the crowd to see you. You can see the crowd kind of thing.
Right.
That's one thing I do like about what's going on with the new, some of the new technology there.
That really does seem to be the trend, getting the laptop at least off to the side, if not completely out of the picture, but at least not like right there in the middle anymore. So you can actually interact with the crowd a little bit. You're not like, you don't have this big piece of
me and JD always argue about
aluminum
this
between you and the crowd.
I disagree because you're looking at 3 different parts of the crowd. You have the left, you have the center, and the right. If you put JD always makes me put my laptop to black out the left part of the crowd can't see me anymore, and it's just disturbing. Where I have it right now, the center can't see me, but the left and right still can. So either way, it's just lose-lose because you're just blocking. Now I'm blocking out the left. We always argue about this.
He's totally bullshitting on
he
this.
He moves
totally
No. I like my laptop right in front of me.
Let's break this down.
I like to cover my face as much as possible. I don't like to make eye contact.
Let's break this down a little bit. The Shrine DJ booth is 12 feet wide, has 2 huge pillars on the left and right corners of the front of the DJ booth. So already your left and right corners are obscured. So if you put the
almost like
if you put the laptop off to the left, You're no more or less obscured than you were with the column.
No, not
But
true.
now you have the whole center, the actual dance floor. The people they're actually playing for to try and get
the
to.
ones that are going like this because they want me to play hip hop in that house.
Those are the
I don't
ones.
want to see those people.
No, that's the bouncers. They're to your left and right also. So, no, but you
I'm
open
gonna-
yourself up.
Yeah.
At Shrine.
We'll see what happens.
This argument isn't going to end.
All right. Also,
You need to, as you post this, you need to post like a picture of that so we can all kind of view that.
Yeah,
or a
sure.
quick video of what it looks like. We need to see.
Or you two could just arm wrestle, and then whoever wins, that's where you put your laptop.
I do
Spring.
that too. No, if I win, it has nothing to do with strength or anything. Just because I'm so determined not to use my laptop to the side, I need it right in front of me.
he's just too lazy to. Here's the other problem. He's just too lazy to move the stand from the left to the center,
I know I do that all the time. And then I move it back to make you think I used it on the side.
which is
Like
awesome.
an old-
All right, Native Instruments also just announced their new revision of the Machine. I think, Faye, as you said, you have the current model or soon-to-be previous model of the Machine, which is there we go. Yeah, the new version, I guess, has multicolored pads, kind of like the F1 tractor controller, which definitely gives you a little more response as far as like what the pads are doing, things like that. Tell us a little bit about your experience with the Machine.
I love it. It's a really good piece of hardware. The pads feel really good on it. I think we're just banging away at it like crazy. It just feels really solid, and it really brings together. If you're used to anything that's hardware based, but then it also brings in anything that's software based because there's no sounds or anything in it. Everything's in your computer, and I really like it. I use it for almost all my redrums that you can find on online. Should I say bar bangers right now? And then all the other stuff that I made, quite a bit of it that you can find anywhere. I made a redrum with that. It's really nice, really easy, and I am excited for the new piece of hardware that they're coming out with. It looks a little bit more simplified as far as they changed the display around to positive and negative in case you play with it live, because you can do like a live version with it. And they changed a couple of the knobs around, so it's like one big master knob on the left-hand side, which is a little bit easier. Right now it's 3 of them, so you kind of have to do this little thing. So it'd be nice if they hit the button, change it, hit the button, change it again. So I'm excited for it, but it comes at a price.
Awesome, yeah. The micro version is going to be $349, and the full version is $599. So, yeah, not the cheapest MIDI controller you can get out there, but definitely well worth it from what I've heard.
Well, I think that the biggest reason why I picked the Machine is because it came with like 2 gigs of just hits and sounds and some loops, and it came with all the sounds, drum kits that normally either you'd have to go sample yourself, steal them off of this track and this track and this track, which I've done plenty of. But it's just nice to kind of go through their own stuff and how quickly it is for production. So when I'm going through a redrum, if I don't like that snare, even though I have the snare already laid out for the whole track, I can just next snare, next snare, next snare, and pick the one I like, for example. But yeah, you're right though. The thing is great. I think I sold him on it. He's gonna go get the micro.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're saying basically you could like drum all the MIDI notes out basically, and then just change the sounds for those like pretty quickly and easily.
That's exactly what I'm saying, because I'll just pick like a basic kick, a basic snare, and a basic hat or something to do a redrum, and then I'll just go ahead and do my patterns up and do a few different patterns however long the song determines, and then I'll just go, I don't like that kick, and just start scrolling through the kicks and see which one fits.
Right as the song's playing,
Yeah, all real time.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
A little bit
Yeah.
about that. I mean, we're gonna probably get into some of this when we talk about bar bangers a little more. But
Sure.
when you're doing those redrums, are you trying to go for that live feel, or are you quantizing those to get a more mixable version?
I'm always quantizing. I want that thing on point. It feels weird because I was redrumming a U2 song, and it's a U2, this big mega band, or if you're doing like a Beatles record or something, you feel like a dick, redoing their drums. But no, I quantize everything, and then plus when you redrum it, like you're saying, it's all MIDI, so it's on point, unless you purposely want to nudge stuff back and forth and get it humanized. But no, I like things clocked right on, so when to drop a record, it's going to be on. it's going to sound clean.
I'm sure all the DJs appreciate that. Who
Sure. I'm playing along with just everyone else, so I try to play things how I want to play it, and hopefully everyone else wants to play it that same way.
I think so. Based on the stuff of yours that I played, I think it works just fine.
So next up, I think we're going to talk about our weekly Twitter beef. This week's edition is Axwell, Ingrosso, and Hardwell. So basically Swedish House Mafia, a mini beef. I don't know how serious a beef it was versus Hardwell. I guess we don't know the exact story, but from what we gathered from the tweets, which are we going to post the link for the picture?
Yeah.
What basically seemed to happen was that Hardwell did one of those like my Facebook page in order to download a bootleg pack things that everyone seems to be doing these days. And within his bootleg pack, apparently there was some Swedish House Mafia tracks. I don't know. I assume that they were some kind of mashup or blend, I would assume.
Absolutely would assume that, yeah.
And the whole thing is we don't really know in this pack what percentage of them were Swedish House Mafia and what percentage was his own tracks, because it would be kind of awkward, I guess, if he was giving a bootleg pack and it used all Swedish House beats and none of his own. So we don't really know the whole story with that, but we know that there was some Swedish House Mafia in the bootleg pack, and Axwell was a little upset that he was giving away their stuff in order for Hardwell to get likes on his Facebook page, which you can understand, obviously, and like I said, it depends on what percentage of their stuff was used in his bootleg pack. Basically, as Axwell will put it, it's a little messed up that you're giving away our stuff in order to get likes on your Facebook page.
Yeah,
So,
Sebastian Ingrosso said, giving away our music in mashups for Facebook likes at Hardwell, that's the lowest I've seen.
I've seen plenty lower than that, but I understand.
Really? That's the lowest you've seen?
It's a lot lower. And that's kind of a fine line, you know. I mean, I kind of get where both of them are saying. You know, I don't know. Personally, Facebook's likes, it's not that big of a deal, really. I mean, I don't really think it does that much of a draw for you. I don't think anybody's going, oh my gosh, you have 5 likes, no one likes you. It's I don't know. I think it's a little silly, but at the same time, you know, you need to have some kind of incentive. You know, they're trying to do like, you know, please like my page and I'll give you this. Even though 5 minutes later you can go hit, you know, unlike.
No, I'm all for it, actually. I think it's great. I mean, I bootleg for a living, so free, whatever. Just take everyone's crap and give it to someone else. Use it, chop it, do whatever you want with it. And once it's out there, it should be out there. If it's music, who cares? Get over it, man. People are gonna. You probably did that at one point in your career when you were starting out, or maybe before that, and just it's gonna happen.
And
so
that's what Hardwell agreed with you. He just said it's all about the love for the music, and that's the only thing that matters.
He did apologize.
And he said he took it
removed the
down.
pack.
I can see both sides. Obviously, the most important credit, and I switched the words I was going to say. The most important thing is giving credit, and I'm sure you guys can agree with that. I mean, imagine if on Barbangers you just had the name of a song and it just said Victor Menego edit, and you didn't have the artist's name or anything else. It's always important to give credit, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who do that.
yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
They put their name as artist, and you have to go, who did this again? And then type it in, and it's a whole thing. It's like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
such a
actually
name down.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Like I want to know what the original song
Sure,
was.
so that makes sense.
You know, I joked with JD a little while back that they should when you're writing out the song in the MP3, they should make the size of the writing relative to how much work was put in the track. So if it says like it could say Hardwell, mash up Hardwell in huge letters, then versus, and then like in small parentheses DJ like whatever, like, and that you barely can even read unless you blow up the screen, because that DJ spent a half hour putting an acapella over a Hardwell beat that he
Not even half an hour.
that he spent 40 hours making.
Yeah, producing. Yeah, no, I totally understand that one, but that's why I kind of like the little parentheses, or not now what in those tags you have. But I think I saw a remixer part to it in a tag, or composer, and I guess you could just put your own tag there. I guess probably I don't know how many people would see it.
Yeah.
I don't know how these tags get like in phrases, like who starts them? Like who's the beginning? Who's the first one to say redrum? Even though they didn't really redrum anything, they just used someone's beat.
Yeah.
And from another hip hop record and put it underneath a rock record. Like
That's true.
Redrum was kind of a weird phrase to me. Like quick hitter. Who came up with quick hitter?
See, I always
That
like
we
quick
use
mix.
it. We even use it on our site, but quick mix was nicer to me.
I like that better. I don't know where the quick hitter came to mind.
It feels very, very East Coast, guys. Anyway,
I think I can
You
take.
guys hit on the West Coast?
feels very Sizz and Riz.
I think I can take credit for the word switch mix.
Oh, cheers.
See, there you go.
I want to know who started Segway, and I believe I want to know who started transition too.
Who started Segway with the wrong spelling is what I want to know.
I think it was Scooter actually.
Good one.
I think it was Scooter. Who did the first? I want to know who actually recorded the first transition and called it a transition. I know one of the first ones I ever saw was the Pour Some Sugar on the.
No, there were some old ones that were actually on vinyl and stuff that I have from
Yep.
like
Okay.
back in like the early 2000s, like late 90s, I want to say. But
Okay.
there's this One More Time Daft Punk transition that I have that goes from 120 to 98, and it must be from like a. And I don't know which series, like not AV8, but like one of those other like party record series.
I think it was a Strict Hits release.
Yeah, yeah.
It was actually called. It was actually called transition.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I made it on vinyl too a long time ago. I mean, it was like the early also 2000s, 2003 or something. But yeah, there were people before that doing it.
But they were pretty rare though. Pretty rare.
Yeah.
You know what's funny
Yes.
is I would kill to be able to. I mean, we all have regrets. We wish we knew a certain thing 5 years before. I wish I knew how to use the. Someone had taken 2 seconds to show me the tempo change thing on Ableton, and I was able to go on Crooklyn Clan when it first opened, and just do all these transitions before everyone else knew how to do that. I think I could.
Just go for DJ transition and just
I think I could have made
That'd be-
a lot of money.
You'd be a
there.
millionaire.
yeah.
However, I'd have to say this: you mentioned the tempo glide on Ableton.
Yeah.
That thing, I never think that thing sounds right. There's just, I don't know. There's sometimes it sounds good when you do that, when you write that out, but other times you're like,
Notice, I found a little secret with that actually. I know if you're using echoes during the tempo change, it kind of distorts the echoes a lot. What you kind of have to do is almost turn your envelopes into little stairs, and as you go, and then that actually helps it a lot.
That and also a trick I use is either like filtering it a little bit, so you
can mask it.
Yeah, you kind of mask a little bit, and also the bit crusher effect kind of add that as it goes up, and it sounds kind of cool as a transition sound, and it masks
Right.
the whole fact that the tempo change sounds like shit. So
Well, the
I've
way
done the reverb thing also, yeah, that it just kind of hollows it out a little bit, makes it sound a little bit larger than
you really do need something there. I mean, too many people I think just do a straight up transition with a drum beat, and it really doesn't sound that good most times. So.
Yep. We always have to add some kind of effects, swishing sounds, kind of blend it out. But I always still think that chopping out your beats, and I always think of it like a real drummer. You're going to hit that drum or that snare. You don't hit it any slower. You still hit it. The sound still plays out. It doesn't really play longer out. So I don't know. I always still remap everything out, and so it's different beats. It's different.
These are Pro Tools.
Yeah. So
different.
it's a little bit different, so I can remap everything out, so everything is still hitting nice and crisp. Not have to worry about finding anything out, but as long as you keep adding those effects in there, they're going to sound pretty good. And I don't think the crowd's going to know any difference either.
No, that makes a lot of sense. They are still hitting them the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if that kick drum is sitting at 80 BPM or 180 BPM. It's still kicking that drum.
Yep.
So I just remap that sample.
And I would say if I had to say a percentage of transitions that I listen to versus actually play, I'd say I probably play about maybe 1 or 2%
That's it.
that I actually ever listen to, because that's how many I think are really horrible.
I play now. When you're talking about transitions, are you talking about up transitions or down or just total?
Total.
Total, really?
Yeah, any other one.
More up. I play fewer up because I don't know, for some reason I just don't sound as good.
Yeah, some of the upper ones are tougher. I mean, the ones that start at 130 and go to 75, those I probably tend to sound better because they're actually going up in speed as they get to down south. But
Kind of like builds a little bit of excitement during the transition, so you up.
yeah,
Or you can just screw the whole damn transition thing, just scratch and slam everything. Screw it.
We all used to DJ before there were transitions, so.
See, I think some of that like slamming it and changing tempo drastically is lost on a lot of DJs these days. Like, I know it's something that I don't do as much as I should, and I'll hear other guys do it sometimes when I get the chance to hear other guys DJ, and I'll be like, wow, that really doesn't sound as bad as it sounds in my head when I want to do it. So maybe I'll do it more.
Yeah. See, my thing is that, a lot of us try to DJ for other DJs and you don't want this nice, clean sounding mix when half the time your crowd is too drunk and they really don't care. They just want to hear their song right now, so they don't want to go through this, minute and a half transition track that, they don't really care about anymore. It still sounds cool, transition.
Some of them really are too long.
Yeah. That's why
Would you shut the hell up and let them talk?
I don't know. We have you guys on. We want your input as well.
But that's a good point, though. We are trying to DJ for other DJs most of the time, but a real DJ who's watching you in the audience is going to understand that maybe that transition had to be drastic like that to keep the vibe of the party going the way you want. I mean,
or maybe someone paid $20 to play. Or maybe someone paid him $20 to play next.
Exactly.
So we talked about that last week on last week's episode. But we have you guys on. We want to talk about obviously your new site, barbangers.com.
Barbangers with a Z.
With a Z.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the site. I know you guys have both been doing a lot of edits for a long time now, and it makes sense that you guys are doing it on your own site now.
I just, we've had the idea for a long time, and I just had to figure out a way that wouldn't piss off people and step on shoes in the industry, because everyone's doing it. Not everyone, but there's a lot of sites out there now, and a lot of people who run the sites have a name for making editing or a name for being big DJs, and I think I have a name for editing, so it just kind of felt for me like I should try to do something like that, but I didn't want, and I've worked for Kevin for years, and he's still a friend of mine, and I didn't want to, so to speak, step on his toes. He's got such a big business going on with DMS. And it's just, how do you do that? How do you leave and say, I'm going to do something without making him upset? Because, I care about him, and I care about what he can do to me. Squash me like an ant. So I just had this idea that, I play so much old stuff at the bar. My sets are really old. I play revised old. And it's always going to happen like that. Even if you make an edit of whatever, Brown Eyed Girl, and in 5 years you're still playing the same one, your sets, you should have a new one. There should always be a churn of new stuff. Even if it's only been around for a few years, you're always going to want like another, oh, this one I've been playing for years, it's been great. Oh, this is even better, so you can dump the other one. So there's just so much old school content to get to. That's the basis of this site. And also rock, we're going to be incorporating a lot more of that. And I think we're going to go indie dance a little bit in sort of like a lounge area. But yeah, no high school dance to change section quite.
So you're more catering to like the wedding DJ kind of crowd and like the bar DJ kind of crowd.
The wedding DJ, I remember when I was on with you before, my sets sound like a wedding on crack.
Yes, I remember that quote.
To them as. But wedding DJs tend to play things, most of them, there's the new school cats are really good who spin in and out of things faster. But a lot of the old school guys like to play the whole version, so it's not really for them. It's meant to be for people who like to keep it high pace, have more high energy in their wedding sets, or obviously more people spinning in bars are going to be using the site, hence the term. But we've got a top 40 section, which is non-remix, that he handles primarily. He also does some old school redrums and stuff. And then everyone who's on the site basically has a designated kind of vibe or feel or personality to them. The DJs have. There has to be some sense of silliness to it, because that's just what it is. There's humor in the fact that some of the stuff is so cheesy, and that's, people may get upset at it, but if they get upset at it, they're probably at the wrong party.
So your pool is more of an eclectic pool. Is that fair to say than a lot of the other pools out there?
I think one of the biggest things is that the biggest difference, that is true, but I think that, there's so many of these, we always said like, big room DJs and, who only want to play, fist pump electro, which is great. To be honest, I play a lot of it. But there's a lot of DJs. There's probably more DJs who play in, small bars and party bars than big nightclubs. And so that's kind of what the Barbangers was kind of about. We kind of weed out all the stuff that we don't care about, that you don't need to hear anything that's, big old zippy, Dutch house and that kind of stuff. We'll just play, fun stuff to, have a good vibe, almost kind of like a wedding, but more, like I said, bar. Just
think of the center of the country. There's no large nightclubs. In the majority of the country, it's just bar.
I mean, we were talking last week about, I think there was an opening DJ somewhere who was at like a chill bar, and he was playing like crazy electro Dutch stuff. And I think in that situation, maybe you guys should send us some business cards for bar bangers. We just go up to them, just give them a bar bangers business card.
Some stickers, yeah, absolutely.
Right on the forehead.
I think you made a good point earlier about like playing the same version of like an older song, like Brown Eyed Girl, playing the same version that you got in the mashup days on Crooklyn Clan like 4 or 5 years ago. And a lot of those songs that were mashed up, and we're still playing those mashups today because no one's done a really good updated version. And
right, and some people did flawlessly in the first place. Like when Discotech did something like Queen or something, you just leave it alone because it was so perfect.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what we were inspired by that, and just try to create the same blueprint for things is difficult, to try to make sure you don't overdo it, or make sure if you do make something with samples, you can kind of have it without samples also, just so people have the option and people get their money's worth. So, yeah.
No, I agree with that too. Because, I mean, in the last 5 years, I mean, Crooklyn Clan first started when? Like, was it 2006 or 2007? So it's been 5 or 6 years. I mean, the sound that we hear in the club has changed. The drums have gotten even harder. You do kind of need updated kind of redrums almost of some of the stuff that people have been playing since 2006. So I definitely agree.
Eclectic too. Which one of you mentioned that? The site, Jake. Okay.
Are you gonna yell at me? If not, I'll take credit for it.
The eclectic thing, like that word is funny because if you think about what you were listening to the other day, the guy spinning shit that's just inappropriate and you don't even know half of it, that's eclectic to people. And there's so much electro out there. There's just every week there's just tons of shit coming out, and it's eclectic to everybody except hardcore nerd DJs who maybe get it. Everyone else does not get that shit until it's mainstream or it's top 40. They don't understand. It's all eclectic to them. That's more eclectic to them than, say, a Beatles record, because they know that. They've heard it before.
That's true.
So, I don't know. EDM's going to crash eventually. Just waiting on that clock.
Everything is on.
Tick, tick, tick.
While we have you guys in here, what do you think of trap music?
No, I really think it's sick. I think it's sick. I do. I think it's tight.
I prefer the ratchet. Is that what it's called? Ratchet. This stuff that's like 100 BPM ish.
Okay.
I kind of like that. It seems more up. Like, I don't know. It seems more dancey.
No, the trap stuff though is like, it's sick. Like that Sandstorm trap mix and stuff. That's sick.
That one's dope.
I agree with Victor on this.
No, I mean,
I also like the 100 BPM stuff too, but I like it all.
I like the trap. I like some of the trap. I get a bad rap that I don't like any of it at all. I do like some of it. I just don't like the fact that every DJ's jumping on it right now. That kind of turns me off to it a little bit.
Like that. Also one thing is that music is needed right now to contrast all the pop shit. Like it's just needed. Like that texture is needed to clash the opposite end of the spectrum, and it's just that's why a lot of white kids are going, fuck this pop shit. I'm so sick of it. Everything's 100. They don't know it's 120 BPM. They don't know it's produced by the same 5 people, but they feel it. They don't know how to describe it, but that's something totally different. Feels different to them.
No, but you know what? You just made me think of something else too. Now I'm gonna look at it through like the Thugs' point of view. They're at Shrine and they're hating the house that we're playing. They're absolutely just they're looking at their watch. They're like, all right, it's been 20 minutes. Can we get some hip hop? Now we bring it down to 70 BPM, and now we're playing house at 70 BPM. They're like, what the fuck? I've been waiting this whole night for him to stop playing house. Now he's at the BPM I've been waiting for all night, and he's playing. I don't even know what the fuck is going on.
But in my experience, a lot of them are still getting down to it, like all the trap.
They're like, yeah, this is better than the boom, boom, boom. But now I got to do it.
They like the speed at least. Yeah.
I think the speed is more bouncy, but there's a lot of it that you can kind of go back and forth and play like a dubstep record now, and you can kind of go back and forth with that. So I don't know if that's kind of the newest kind of stuff, or I don't know, but
there's a lot of options to say the least these days.
Yeah. Technology is awesome. I love it.
So tell us, what is the cost of barbangers.com for people that want to join?
You've got a few different options. You can pay as little as $25 a month for a certain amount of edits, like 45 a package deal. You can pay the 50, I think it is.
I don't even
150.
remember anymore.
Check barbangers.com.
Barbangers.com.
I know you guys do have a lot of options on there.
No, we have 4 options available, and I think most of them are going for a quarterly package if they like the first. If they spend $25, surf the site, download as much as you can, and if you like, come back. And every week we upload 50 tracks at least. We try to hit that mark. You guys are on the site. Myself, FaZe, Marty Marr, who's a really talented kid here in I say kid, he's like the same age as me, but out here in Seattle, he's really, really humble, good dude to work with. And then got Greg J out of San Francisco, which we're kind of uploading his back catalog as he gets his computer fixed. His stuff died as we were starting our site.
He's
So
had some technical difficulties.
technical difficulties with him. And then there's a guy named
Greg
Roche.
on the site before.
Huh?
I said we've interviewed Greg on the site before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Love him.
And then Roche, who's I think out of Charlotte, who just makes weird stuff, but
Yeah.
I like him for some reason. Yeah, but yeah, it's great. I think if no one's checked it out, check it out and peruse the site and let me know what you think.
Did you guys make an option if someone just sees a few songs that they can pay per song or for like 10 or 20 downloads? Is that an option?
Oh, there isn't like I said, there's a 25 minimum.
Oh, 25, okay.
For access to like I think it's 45 tracks if you like it, which is quite a bit to spend for 45 tracks if you consider it. But if you pay double, you get like unlimited for a month.
Well,
So
we
yeah,
both
for $50.
we both cruise the site. If you spend any time at all on the site, it's impossible to only find a few things. If you actually look at the site, you're gonna find a ton of stuff that you didn't know you wanted before you went to the site, but now that you're there and you see it all in front of you, I think people will see a lot of stuff that they want on the site.
Thanks. It's still a baby, so we're still growing as far as editors and ideas and things like that, but we're really motivated and we want to make sure that we provide the best user experience. And that's where we're trying to do that with the social media game and everything. And we just want to make sure, just like I said, it's a fine line not to make sure I upset people in the business that I respect, and just want to make sure I make my own way and make my own name doing something that doesn't affect the rest of the community so much, doesn't have cause a ripple. And this guy with his editing prowess over here is going to be the next something.
I definitely want to talk to you guys about that editing prowess. I know we get a lot of requests from people to make videos, tutorials on how to make edits, but while we have you guys on, we should probably ask you a few questions. I'm actually going to do a thing about how I made my recent mix, and I'm going to tell people kind of the behind the scenes. And one thing I want to talk about, because what goes into a mix CD is a lot of edits. One thing I want to talk about is some of the biggest obstacles that there are in terms of making edits, and what are some of the tricks maybe to go around some of those obstacles. For instance, if you're trying to shorten a song and there's a sweep or something on one part that it's not at the end. What do you guys think are some of the biggest obstacles you face when you make edits? And maybe share some of your tricks that you have that you guys use.
There's a couple things like that particular example you said. If there's some sort of other element where you want to kind of splice the song and it's not in one and then it is in another, that element, you can always mask it with your own element. That's one way you can do it. Or you can just find a spot where that element kind of tapers off. Like I said, if there's like this big switch or they put something else in there, you kind of find another spot. Really, you have to find get real fine and listen to a spot where it's exactly the same thing at exactly the same time, and you can go splice, and then you really can't tell the difference.
Do you have go-to things to use in terms of masking stuff? Do you ever use explosions or? Because some people like to joke about DJs overusing explosions, but if you do them subtly, they're actually very good.
So the first thing, never use an explosion. I don't even know why anyone would use an explosion.
No,
unless it's like major weird build-up or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
When I was making my CD, I actually do love using the explosion. I'll tell you exactly why. It's because, first of all, most songs, although we don't know it, they actually have their own effects. Most songs I made these days have a lot of them have their own effects. I like explosions sometimes, very subtly. Again, very subtle.
Yeah. Turn it down.
So
Don't have
subtle
it
explosions.
It can actually help. If one song tends to maybe lose a little bit of energy, the reverb of the explosion kind of makes it sound a little bit fuller sometimes when it comes in. Sometimes it just adds a little bit something extra. But sweeps are definitely really good to use. if you're
Cymbals.
what's that?
Cymbals.
Cymbals too.
Yeah.
I take a crash, like a big splash, and I'll reverse it and
Reverb it.
Yeah, you can reverse it, reverb it, and you can put the regular version to run that when that you hit straight. You can kind of butt them back together, so you kind of get that kind of get that back and forth. So,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice.
That ghost effect.
You can do the hall kick where you have the kick with a lot of reverb on it. So it's almost it's like an explosion kind of sound without the glass shattering everywhere.
How about we just say screw all this and just triple air horn and fucking everything?
You know what's funny is about 6 or 7 years ago, I used to actually be really into reggae. I used to do the reggae CDs, and those are all about the foghorns and there was on my CD. I was trying to go from I think it's Going In by J-Lo into Pound the Alarm by Nicki Minaj, and for whatever reason, the Nicki Minaj song just loses a lot of energy when it comes. I tried everything. I tried starting with the chorus first. Tried every remix I could. I couldn't get it to keep the energy. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can go back to one of those. I actually called it a space sound. It's like a crazy. It's not foghorn, but just like some weird, really weird noise that I used to use on these reggae CDs. And it wasn't quite. Maybe I'll have to give an example or post something.
Sorry.
I brought it out, and I'm like, this is way too obnoxious to use. This is meant for the reggae CDs and nothing else. So I ended up not using it. But there are various.
That was always a good one too, right?
What
Something
was
like that. You know, the air raid horn.
The air raid siren kind of thing.
I avoid using the I used to use all that stuff on the. Nothing was off limits back in the reggae mix CD days. As far as other stuff with doing edits, how often do you find yourselves having to maybe rip vinyl to make to maybe find an instrumental to use or something like that to take a song that otherwise you have the song on CD but you just don't have any way to make an intro for it? Do you guys have to do that?
It happens very few. I've had to do it a few times, and I don't really mind ripping from vinyl, but you got to do it right. You got to have a good piece of vinyl that isn't all messed up. And if it is, and even if it isn't, I guess, I always go through, make sure nice and crisp, nice, clean sounding. And I think I did something with 99 Problems, and I only had the instrumental on wax. And I ripped it, but I only used maybe 8 bars out of it. And so, but I recorded the whole thing. I went through and grabbed the 8 bars that I wanted, and I chopped up the beats how I wanted it. But you know what? If you rip vinyl, try not to. But if you are, do it smart. Clean it up, make it sound real crisp. But if you could find either the MP3,
I got the instrumental. If you did,
you do.
You just gotta ask. You guys have.
That would have been great.
If you only knew. Where do you guys get a lot of your original material from? Like the original songs from for a lot of your edits? Do you guys go to Amazon and buy a lot of the old CD singles, or are you getting the MP3s?
Everything's been 256 off of iTunes for like 5 years for me.
I personally like Amazon. I still download a lot from Amazon. I'm kind of
that's my choice too.
Yeah.
Do they let you do 320 Amazon?
Yeah.
Is it 320 or is it like?
I thought it was 256.
I think it's 256.
Why can't they just make it 320 on iTunes?
Doesn't make that big of a difference. I haven't had any problems.
Why can't they
with
just make it lossless and help us all out?
We pay like twice as much for a wave, wouldn't you? If you can get it.
I'd pay $2. Yeah. I wouldn't pay $2.50 or $3 like I do on Beatport, but I might pay.
No.
But I
might pay $1.50. I mean, come on, why not just do FLAC for the same price? I mean, it's Amazon, for Christ's sake. It's not like they don't have freaking servers and bandwidth galore. They're not hurting.
That's space.
Yeah.
But most of the time we get most of our, like if I'm making a lot of edits, maybe if it's older stuff that, isn't, rarely available on a record pool, current record pool. But most of the stuff, like top 40 stuff I do, it's on New Music Server. And so the New Music Server does have a lot of waves on there.
Yep.
And if not, they are 320. So, and they have a number of instrumentals when they're available. They don't have them all, but they have some.
Is this the longest interview you guys have ever done, or?
Check the DJ Inferno interview.
Okay.
That was split into 2 parts.
Okay.
Oh gosh! So just kind of skip through this anyway.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we have a whole lot more to talk about.
We just wanted to make sure we let people know the intricate detail that goes on behind the scenes.
What do you guys think about like a normal record pool, such as the ones that we frequent, that would have lossless audio, either as like FLAC or AAC or something like that?
I think it's cool.
Yeah. I hope they're still around forever. You know, I rely on them heavily. You know, I still like them, and you know, the more genres they can add to it, you know, the better. And you know, I like them. I'll keep doing them. And they're good. It's a good resource if you want the real version, the only version. You know, no DJ friendly edit. You just want the single and don't care about anything else. They're great.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us, and hopefully everybody checks out the site barbangerswithaz.com.
Please.
I know it sounds like a porno site. I've got that from everyone, so it's not. So just make sure you type it in right. There's some confusion.
Have you tried any of the variations? Does anything come up?
I think we did. Yeah, you don't want to just with a Z.
Just do it with a Z.
Just one Z. Don't do two Zs. Just one Z.
Yeah, definitely not three.
Well, we definitely appreciate the time that goes into all the edits that you guys make, and I'm sure our audience does as well.
Thank you for the support, everyone out there helping out with the site, you know, getting on there, and you know, we want to take care of everyone. I think one of the biggest things, probably wrapping it up, is that I really want to say is, you know, all the money that you guys put into it goes straight to, you know, like the artists that are putting it together, like, and all of us, you know, remixers. You know, I think, you know, the DJ community is really tight, and I think we're all, you know, always kind of like looking out for each other mostly. And you know, it's all going right to us, and we put it right back into the site. We put it right back into the equipment to kind of like re-put it out there. And
we're also going to be throwing some Barbangers parties in Reno where everyone's invited, and if you show up from wherever you want to come, it's free drinks, you know, all night, free food. So that's stuff that's coming, you know, in the future. But it's going to be just give back.
Community, very nice.
Yeah, it's all about everyone, you know. It's like
even though people are always saying, you know, it's all about the music and you know, front a lot of it. I think that it really is all about music, sharing, having a good time, you know, having fun with this whole experience, you know, with DJing and, you know, kind of living it up. And, you know, we're not all about, you know, well, we want to make all this much money and, you know, we're charging all this money per download or anything like that. You know, we just want, you know, make enough to get us going and keep the site going, and keep us going.
Well, you guys definitely deserve a little bit. I mean, I would hope that people would support you for all the edits, because I mean, we know it is a lot of tedious work. Shout out to Danny Diggs, who I think just spent 12 hours doing a redrum of Bohemian Rhapsody. Speaking of tedious, but
it's sick too.
We understand what you guys go through, and you guys are doing everyone a service by doing this on your site. So.
And it's definitely a good juxtaposition to all the other record pools out there. Definitely a lot of stuff that you're not going to see anywhere else, especially to get that good back catalog. So I'm definitely excited to go through and find some new versions of old songs to add to my collection. So
yes, me as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again for joining us, guys, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon, and definitely keep us updated on the site as well.
As always, leave a comment right down there, or
email us at remixreport@gmail.com.
Remixreport.com